Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lee Dobkin, along with my co-host Phil Ocala.
This is a special edition of Top Plays featuring a legendary coach and leader who spent the last 17 years building Penn medicine into a national powerhouse.
We're talking, of course, about All-Star CEO and head coach Ralph Skinny Legs Muller. Well known for his early career as a policymaker, he honed his playmaking skills in Chicago before moving to Philadelphia, where he quickly organized his team in 2003.
That's right. Muller knew that the first step in building a world-class franchise was improving and expanding the infrastructure and facilities, which brings us to Ralph top play number 1, go big.
One of the first times I met Ralph was when we were building the Center for Advanced Medicine. And we were going to the board of directors. He had only been here maybe 24 hours, 48 hours. The first slide said we have ambulatory care spread over 11 sites, and our solution is to build a 12th building, which was the Perlman Center. I never quite understood how that made sense. He says, Kevin, you don't think big enough. We're going to build $1 billion building in 1 million square feet, and you can't start that way. You got to work into it. So we first went for $184 million. And 10 years later, we finished the building. It was 1 million square feet and cost almost $1 billion.
During Ralph's tenure, he has more than doubled the footprint of Penn Medicine. And I'll never forget the insights that Ralph shared about how healthcare was changing as we started thinking about managing populations over large geographies. He would say, know your fans. I mean, it was really brilliant. If you look at the heat maps where fans of various different sports teams are coming from, that it really reflects how healthcare relationships are going to be established.
You know, Ralph has this reputation of always talking about sports, and it really bothers me because it's not true. But it sticks, and that's all anyone says. One day he was in talking about the Phillies and the Red Sox, and I'm like, Ralph, we got to get to data analytics. And he said, you're right, you should read this new book, Moneyball, which is how to apply analytics to winning baseball games.
Phil, as Ralph regularly reminds us, those are some exceptional achievements, wouldn't you say?
No doubt about it. A strong debut followed by consistent achievement. But that's what greatness looks like. Willing to take educated risk and really put it on the line for the win.
Phil, was Muller's strategy just about rapid growth?
Not at all. That was only part of it. He would often tell his team, do simple better, which brings us to Ralph Muller's top play number 2, perfect the basics.
One of Ralph's first moves was to focus on the fundamental of revenue cycle efficiency. It's the oil in our engine. He championed an effort that allowed for investment across all 3 of our missions. As the CFO, there have been more than a few times I wondered if we could take a breath between adding new members, IT solutions, building massive facilities, but it's not who Ralph is, and quite honestly, it's not who we are.
The strategic blueprint was really about focus and alignment, and Ralph just wears those words out. Ralph made quality a priority because everything about healthcare is important to him, from soup to nuts. So, the bricks and mortar that we've built, the complex care that we deliver, the high-end specialists that we have, the primary care service line that we've developed, the patient experience, the experience for employees, everything about it is important, and he's addressed all of it over the course of his career here.
Ralph's really a CFO's dream. Other than the fact that he can do math quicker in his head than I can do on a calculator, which is more than a little irritating, Ralph knows what matters when looking at financial statements.
Ralph has always drilled, focus on what's most important, and then get better.
Ralph would say to budget is to choose, and we make choices all the time. We need to focus on the most important. And the most important thing to Ralph, the basic that he perfected, is a high-quality patient experience.
Lee, we've been talking a lot about how Muller's discipline played into the success of his team. But now it's time to talk about his attitude.
Muller always believed Penn Medicine was capable of being what it is today. He believed in his players, his team, and his brand. He could be a taskmaster, but he taught everyone to play like they were going to win. He nurtured and relied upon key players and promoted from within.
He really led by example and embodied the success that Penn Medicine has seen in the past 17-year tenure. Which brings us to our final play, Play like a champion.
You know, Ralph is a unique CEO. Ralph doesn't lead by dictum. He had such a well-articulated, compelling vision, you wanted to follow him.
He likes to win. He picks great people. He's data-driven. He expects people to perform at their highest level. He expects them to execute, and he measures outcomes. So Ralph plays like a champion, and he wins.
He's more of a social scientist. He sees healthcare in a much broader context than most people do. And I think that's one of the reasons we are successful. My father used to say, if all you see is a patch of gray wrinkled skin, you never see the elephant. And the elephant here is healthcare in a society where it's not just delivering a drug or doing an operation within a hospital. It's how does that healthcare fit in society as a whole. And I think his genius was he brought that perspective to all of us, not to just think like we're delivering a product, but we are part of a healthcare fabric in a society that is struggling to figure out what is the best way to deliver it.
He has a saying that there's no glory in practice, but without practice, there's no glory.
Ralph's advice was always in some kind of a context of sports, which made me a bit of an outsider, but he did have a lot of great sayings, and they had a lot of meaning behind them. One of the ones that he used most often, he'd get this wry smile on his face and he'd look at us and say, "Remember the lady in the snowbank." And I would look back at him and smile again as if I understood it. And to this day, I still have no idea what the hell he was talking about.
Lee, what a career and what a leader.
We're all sad to see him go. Do you think Penn Medicine can sustain this winning streak in the coming seasons? Or are they in for some tough rebuilding years?
You know, with the way he set up his team, I think they're still in a great position to dominate under the next leader.
Certainly won't be the same without him, Phil. We're talking about a guy who's a lock to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. That will be one tremendously moving speech, assuming anyone can understand a word he says.
So true, so true. Well, this concludes this special edition broadcast of Top Plays. We hope you've enjoyed it. And coming up next, except for those of you in the West Coast, is an all-new Law and Order, Clinical Intent, followed by True Physicians. Stay tuned and see you next time.
Couldn't they have gotten someone better than Quinn to do that segment?
What are you thinking about? Tom Beeman?